In the 1960s, a legend would be created in the little town known as Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Claims were beginning to appear of a creature which many described as a moth, bird-like being with glowing red eyes. This terrified the locals. They dubbed this creature the Mothman. But what was the Mothman? A bad omen? An extraterrestrial being? A mutant bird? No one really knows. However, the legend of the Mothman has carried on for years, and it would forever leave its mark on the little town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. The Mothman is described as a supernatural humanoid. Some have compared him to looking like a large barn owl. His coloration varies from black, gray, to even brown, although it's usually darker shades. Sometimes he's described as not having a head with the two huge red eyes set in the chest. These eyes are glowing, or at least reflective. The details of his face and his feet have never been actually described. One witness who saw the face clearly could only say that the details were horrible and monstrous. She had terrible nightmares and nearly suffered a nervous breakdown. Anyone who gets a close look at the Mothman seems to suffer from extreme fear and psychological distress, sometimes lasting for months or even years afterwards. Most witnesses have claimed that they can sense a pure evil in his eyes. The Mothman has the ability to fold his wings and walk with a weird shuffle. When he flies, he unfolds his wings and shoots straight up with great speed. Witnesses have described his flight pattern as setting straight off like a helicopter. He flies faster than any bird, and one of his favorite activities is to chase vehicles, fly in front of them, and sometimes hit the roof. Mothman sightings have been associated with another creature which has been spotted in the area known as thunderbirds, which are creatures with gray bodies and red heads. There is also the Owlman, which is a very similar creature with wings and red eyes, which was first spotted in Cornwall, England in 1976. On November 2nd, 1966, in Clendenin, West Virginia, a group of gravediggers were in a cemetery when they spotted something unusual. They glanced up from their work to see a huge figure which was moving rapidly from tree to tree. They would later describe it as being a brown human being. The West Virginia Ordnance Works is an abandoned munitions to the north of Point Pleasant, also known as the TNT area, and during its operation, it manufactured ammunition and dynamite. The surrounding area is mostly forest covered with numerous grassy clearings and thick concrete domes called igloos. These date all the way back to World War II. The igloos were used to store gunpowder. The area is filled with abandoned tunnels, most of which have collapsed, then sealed off, or became flooded with water. A wildlife sanctuary called the McClintock Wildlife Management now looks after the area. In 1979, fishermen in the TNT area reported that chemicals had leaked into the ponds, causing it to be labeled an environmental disaster. By the year of 1983, the TNT area was among the country's most polluted sites. Just a few short weeks after the first Mothman sighting, on November 15, 1966, two young couples were traveling down a road which would later be nicknamed the TNT area in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. The couples were Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Mollett. When they noticed a pair of two large glowing red eyes in the darkness beside the Old North power plant. These eyes belonged to a creature that looked mostly human, but was 7 feet tall and with wings that folded on its back. Roger stopped the vehicle to inspect the creature, and the four realized shortly after that this was no ordinary bird. The true horror began, however, when the creature spread its wings and pursued them down Highway 62 to the Point Pleasant city. It was going at a speed of 100 miles an hour. The four arrived in town with no sign of the mysterious bird anywhere. Roger parked his car and they discussed the encounter, eventually deciding that what they had seen was nothing more than a bird, and that they would face their fears, so they decided to drive to the TNT area once again. It wasn't long after they saw the creature again. It was apparently waiting for them along Route 62. The couples then realized that this was no bird. It had an apparent urge to avoid the car's headlights, and would lift into the air at a tremendous speed and disappear into the tree line. When they got back into town, they went immediately to the Mason County Courthouse, where they spoke to Sheriff George Johnson about their experience. Later, the police began investigating the area, and the next day the press began printing the story and the sighting. There would be a total of 8 additional sightings over the span of the next 3 days. 2 volunteer firemen would have an encounter with the creature under what they would describe as a large bird with red eyes. Mason County Sheriff George Johnson would comment that he believed the creature to be nothing more than a heron. Contractor Newell Partridge would also encounter a creature in a nearby field. He claimed he pointed his flashlight at it, and when he did, its eyes glowed like bicycle reflectors. He then would experience buzzing noises on his television set shortly after, and hear a strange noise just outside his home. Later, he would have the disappearance of his beloved German Shepherd, believing that the creature took his dog. Some believe the Mothman to be a harbinger of doom. On December 15, 1967, just over a year after the first Mothman sighting, a tragedy took place in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Originally built in 1928 to connect Point Pleasant, West Virginia to Gallipolis, Ohio, the bridge was packed with cars. This had taken a strain on the bridge's structure. The bridge was not built to hold that much weight. as vehicles at the time were much lighter than they are today. On that cold December night, without warning, a single bar near the top of the bridge on the Ohio side cracked. The chain holding the bridge snapped, and the bridge ultimately fell to pieces, plunging cars and pedestrians in the icy water of the Ohio River below. 46 people died either by drowning, being crushed, or hypothermia. Following the Mothman sightings, the bridge collapse was the second most terrible and bizarre thing to happen in Point Pleasant, and the two became connected. The day of the Silver Bridge collapsing, a few witnesses had claimed to see the Mothman fly on top of or flying over the Silver Bridge. According to the story, shortly after the creature was spotted by the bridge, it collapsed. An investigation into the disaster would find that a fracture in a suspension chain was the cause. Mothman had also been seen in many other disasters as well. Many have linked him to extraterrestrials, as many witnesses would claim to have encountered the men in black shortly after seeing the Mothman. These men in black would ask them not to speak of their experiences with the creature. Some believe that the Mothman is a form of an angel, demon, or the product of a curse placed upon the town by Chief Cornstalk, who was murdered along with his son in the area. The curse is also connected to the Silver Bridge collapsing. Dr. Robert L. Smith, an associate professor of wildlife biology at West Virginia University, claimed the Mothman was nothing more than a sandhill crane. But a lot of locals would go on to say that if that were the case, that the chemicals from the TNT site would cause the mutation of the creature. In 1975, author John Keel would write a novel about the Mothman, known as The Mothman Prophecies. He incorporated UFO activity, and this would later bring about the 2002 film. As for the sightings of the Mothman, they've mostly declined since the late 1960s, but every so often a sighting emerges. In 2016, a man who just moved to Point Pleasant spotted a mysterious creature jumping from tree to tree. He claimed to local reporters that he was unaware of the local legend of the Mothman until he allegedly spotted the beast himself. The town of Point Pleasant now carries on the legend of the Mothman in the form of a historical museum, a statue, and a festival which takes place every year.
Hey there, Morbid Maniacs. It's time for another spooky video, a part of Vlogtober. And for tonight's spooky video, we are going to be exploring the TNT area in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, where the Mothman was first spotted.
Something touched the back of my head.
You felt something in the back?
Like nudged it a little bit, like.
I thought I seen
And I tried to redo it, and I couldn't. It wasn't even my head moving. It was standing still.
Heard you was like a sign of the omen or something that comes through the portal.
Like a whisper, like behind my ear, like I'm heard just right now. Was the Mothman a bad omen?
You didn't hear that?
How are you?
What?
Would you like to speak? You can speak through this little radio box I've got in my hand. Just use your energy. That's all you have to do. You mean no one, no harm.
What was that explosion noise we heard earlier?
Is it true that the Mothman? Is it true that the Mothman? Is it true that the Mothman? Is it true that the Mothman was spotted here?
What?
Yeah. In the thing. I just heard a noise in the TNT dome. Is that the Mothman?
I've been hearing things like coming from in there. What I heard earlier would sound like screaming, like.
Can anyone speak to us through the spirit box? Mean no harm.
Does the Mothman still hide out here?
Okay, I'm going to end the spirit box session.
Don't run. Don't run or something.
We're not running. Just ending the spirit box session. I think we're just going to listen out right now. See what we can hear. Peace out.
It was nice speaking to you. What was that?
It went up.
So there was us exploring the Mothman TNT area. Please let me know if you guys seen or heard anything that was unusual in this video. And I hope you guys have enjoyed Vlogtober. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big old thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already and become a morbid maniac. And I love you guys so much. Happy Halloween. After we filmed these clips in the first bunker, we went to explore the other two, and when we got to the second one, my memory card started malfunctioning. I never had a problem out of my memory cards before, so that was very weird. I got an error sign on my camera and couldn't get them to work all day after that until I got home. Literally all the footage that we filmed in that second bunker was gone whenever I put the memory card in my computer. So I don't know if it was something draining the energy off of my camera or what, but it was really strange. The same night, whenever I was doing the voiceover for this video, I went to play the video back, and there was kind of like a glitch of my voice, and it almost sounded like it said, "He followed me home."
Best.